Hello, everybody. So make sure you're on page 7. We're going to talk about revolution. And by we're going to talk, meaning you're going to listen to me and you're going to become smarter. So we're going to start right from the beginning. Make sure you should be on page 7. And you should follow and do the things that I do. Because, again, when we talk about annotating and getting better at note taking, this is an important skill for it. So, revolution, that means one thing moving around another. And in this case, I mean, we're talking about the Earth going around the sun. Uh, don't forget that in addition to that, other things that revolve are, if we even just think of the Earth itself, right? If this is the moon, remember that the moon also revolves at a 5-degree angle, and that's the cause of moon phases and eclipses and blah 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 blah. That's definitely not a 5-degree tilt, but whatever. It's just for the idea. So revolution means one thing going around another. Now, how do you even prove if you go outside that we're going around anything? We don't feel any movement. It's just not something we experience. But there are 3 ways that we can prove it. One, if you're an astrology person, your astrological sign or your zodiac sign, which I'll show you another video in here in a little bit, that is actually one way that we can prove that there's a change in our position around the sun, which makes sense. So the short version is, since they change as we go around the year, uh, that means we're moving around the sun into different places. The second thing has to do with the Big Dipper. Now, the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, which is right where the North Star is, uh, also you should please mark that this is Polaris. Those are actually not constellations. There are something called asterisks, which is like that little, an asterisk is like the little star. Um, it's, believe it or not, and even the Big and Little Dipper, they are part of constellations. So I don't really know where the name came from, but it's not a constellation. Anyway, throughout the year, you can see how as the year goes on, the Big Dipper changes positions. And if we talk about the Little Dipper also would change uh, positions as the year goes around too. So they both move. So that is the other way we know that we are in fact moving around the sun. And probably the most evident one to us, the seasons. Now this, going back to some of the other videos, has to do with the fact that Earth is on a 23.5-degree tilt. And you'll notice that the seasons, no apostrophe, the seasons flip. So if you look, it's summer in the northern, winter in the summer in the southern. But then when we go to the other side of the sun, so when we go this way, so now we're going around the sun, and all of a sudden, hey, northern winter, southern summer. They flip again. So right now, whatever season you're in, go to the opposite. So since it's winter, most likely, it is February 20th, as you can see in my iPad. So it's February 20th. Right now, it is still February 20th in Australia, but because they're in the southern hemisphere, they are basically in their version of August. So February is still February there, but it is the hottest month for them. Just like their coldest month is August and July, but that's usually our hottest month. And that has to do with the fact that we are tilted. So anyway, you're going to watch these a little bit more about constellations in another video, but I'll give you a much shorter version. So constellations at night in a yearly cycle. So as Earth revolves around the sun, the nighttime side of Earth faces different constellations at different seasons. Now there's two parts of this you need to know. One, let's say it's Earth in November, right, which is right here. Your zodiac sign should probably be a Libra. The reason for that is the sun passes through that constellation Libra during the month of November, and that's where you get your zodiac sign from. However, at nighttime, when you cannot remember, you can't see the stars during the daytime. They're there, but because the sun is so bright, it blinds you from being able to see them. But the constellations you could see, if you were right there, that's me, you can tell because no hair. At night in November, I could see Aries and Taurus at night. Now, if I were to move, let's say, here in February, that is not an F. Your zodiac sign is something maybe like a, I don't know, like a Sagittarius or something like that. I'm really bad at these, but at night you can see Cancer and Leo at night. So that is one part of the constellations. All right, so here in May, right, you are probably in Aries, but you could see Libra and Virgo, and that's that. The position of the Big Dipper also changes. So the position of the Big Dipper changes yearly. The Big Dipper circles around Polaris. It is what's called a circumpolar constellation. Circum means to go around. So when you learn about those explorers who circumnavigate the globe, they circum means they go around the globe. Circumpolar means that they go around the pole. So the North Pole, right? So here is the Little Dipper. Polaris is right there. And the pointer star, if you look at this diagram, so here's the Little Dipper, right? So that's, this in yellow is the Little Dipper. Here's the North Star. The way to find Polaris is you look at the Big Dipper, and on the cup, the edge of the cup, this star always points directly to Polaris. But anyway, because that goes around Polaris, that's how you know we are moving. Because again, it's the big thing about all of these, by the way, these are changes since they're caused by revolution. They are changes that happen at longer periods of time. So like day and night, that changes in a couple of hours, right? In about 12 hours. That's because we rotate. Things that take months, that's because we're moving around the sun. So you want to be careful of that. So here, just another supporting diagram for that. So 9 p.m. at the start of each season, you can just see that we are going around. The most important thing is going to be seasons. It's a cyclic change. So remember, cyclic changes, those graphs look like this. They occur in a pattern and they are predictable, just like which makes sense. We know when the seasons are. We know the start dates of them, or maybe not, but you will soon. And we know that after it gets cold, it's going to start to warm up, and then it's going to get hot, and then it's going to get cooler, and then it's going to get cold, and then it's going to get warm, and then it's going to get hot, and then it's going to get cool, and then cold. That's a cyclic change. It's a cycle. All right. So here are the causes of seasons. This, I would put a nice big star around it. These are the three things you 100% need to know. So it is caused by Earth's revolution around the sun. It is because the Earth is tilted. If the Earth was less tilted, the seasons would be more like spring and fall. And Earth's axis is always pointed in the same direction. It is a word called parallelism. If you think of what two parallel lines are, they're lines that never touch. They always go in the same direction. Because we're always pointed in the same direction, we call that parallel. So here's a diagram to help show you that.